With Batman Arkham Shadow now having been a successful virtual reality entry in the Batman Arkham series, many fans are clamoring for a sequel. While Rocksteady is seemingly back to working on console-bound Arkham games, I do think there's plenty of opportunities for Camoflauj to continue expanding the Arkhamverse in their own experiences. While I think some would like to see a direct sequel to Batman Arkham Shadow, I personally feel like maybe utilizing some of the console mechanics like dual play and open world traversal might suit that story better when Batman starts working with his sidekicks. But today I'd like to pitch another Batman game that I'd like to see from Camoflauj that I really think would suit the virtual reality experience, and I would call it Batman Arkham Vigil. The game would play out as a mystery that Batman's trying to solve, but it would be intercut with multiple flashbacks that would give context to this particular scenario. And what scenario is that? Batman is trying to find Jason Todd. In Arkham Knight, we learned that Jason was being tortured by Joker in an abandoned wing of Arkham. This would allow Camoflauj to set much of this game in Arkham Asylum. We could view some familiar locations from Arkham Asylum, but also some of the abandoned wings that we didn't get to see. These segments of the game would be more about detective work than anything else. Don't get me wrong, there would be some combat and some stealth and some conversations with Arkham guards and maybe characters like Hugo Strange, but this part of the game would be far more slower paced. You'd maybe have like one or two villains on the loose, like maybe you have Anarchy trying to build an army in the abandoned wings of Arkham, or maybe you have Prometheus or someone running amok at Arkham Island, but it certainly wouldn't be an Arkham Asylum level event where everyone has broken out of their cells and it's this huge, crazy, chaotic night. It would be a slower paced, reflective experience for Batman where he's reminiscing about Jason Todd and really concerned about his sidekick. The potential for us, the player, to empathize with Batman is huge here as we explore Arkham Asylum and find some of the torture chambers that Jason was kept in. All the while we're experiencing flashbacks to when Nightwing told us off and said he was going to go work in Bloodhaven alone because he couldn't stand our tactics anymore. We could see our first encounter with Jason Todd where he's trying to steal the tires from the Batmobile. We could live through the story of Batman realizing that this kid really just needs a father figure in his life, someone to show him respect and compassion, and Batman could take him under his wing as the new Robin. It would be a very suitable follow-up to Batman Arkham Shadow, a game about Batman learning to control his rage and anger, and now he has to try and help this kid overcome his own rage and anger. We could play through many of their early adventures as Batman and Robin through flashbacks, and this is where we'd get more of the city-trotting adventure, where we'd get to go up against boss fights and have more free-flow combat encounters and Predator encounters, and maybe there could even be some kind of virtual reality dual-play component. We could see both the positive impact that Batman is having on Jason's life, but also the recklessness and rage that is still there. One thing I really like about this pitch is just how scalable it is. You could make this a really long 16-hour experience, or you could make it a brief 5-hour experience, and either way I think it works and is scalable. As we watch Batman and Robin succeed in solving cases and stopping villains like Victor Zsasz, or Prometheus, or the Great White Shark, or the Mad Hatter, we could see Jason's cockiness become a bigger problem. We could see him take more dangerous risks. We could see Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon growing concerned at Jason's recklessness and warning Bruce that he needs to order Jason to stand down before he gets killed. A lot of these flashbacks could take place over a longer time span, like a year, and we could see how this situation escalates over a longer term scenario, or we could have these flashbacks play out like a more traditional Arkham game. Maybe the flashbacks really only show us the final night that Batman and Robin worked together before Jason was kidnapped. We could see Batman's concern as the night goes on. They could be going up against rogues like Bane and Two-Face and Poison Ivy and Deadshot and Prometheus and some of these fan favorites, and then suddenly the unthinkable happens. Jason is kidnapped by the Joker. We could see Dick Grayson lash out at Batman once again, that Batman made choices that led to this. We could see Barbara Gordon trying to keep the Bat family focused on finding Jason. We could see a side to Alfred that we haven't really seen in these games before. What happens with his grief when he watches someone that Bruce viewed as a son go missing? The tragic irony is that, like Batman, we would know that this is a fruitless effort. We, the players, know what happens in Arkham Knight. We know that Jason isn't saved, and you could have Batman know that the chances of saving Jason are pretty much non-existent. The modern day part of this story, where Batman is looking for Jason, would be so somber and really hard to stomach at a lot of points, and so that's where you'd need to balance it out with those flashbacks. You'd need to have some fun combat encounters and fun boss fights and some locations around Gotham to explore. Otherwise, I think this whole experience would be just too depressing. Limiting these depressing moments and showing a contrast to them with moments with Batman and Robin, where their dynamic is working really well, would make the experience more emotionally complex and nuanced. Camoflauj has also proven that they're very good at adapting the Arkham free-flow combat and stealth and traversal into virtual reality, and this would give them a great opportunity to improve and evolve upon what they already did in Arkham Shadow. This is also where they could continue a story with a character like Two-Face or Carmine Falcone if they wanted to, and have a continuing plot thread from Arkham Shadow. Having various locations and boss fights and combat opportunities would make not only for a really fun story, but also for some really good challenge map opportunities. An interesting idea that I've toyed around with this game would be having it take place not a few days or hours after Jason Todd's abduction, but rather having it take place months later when there's suddenly a lead. Maybe there's a signal on his heart monitor from the Batcave. There's a little semblance of hope. There's some kind of evidence that suggests that maybe Jason is alive and still somewhere that Batman can find him. In Arkham Knight, we've learned that Jason was kept in this abandoned wing of Arkham for over a year by Joker. And so you could have this whole DLC take place after the Batgirl A Matter of Family DLC. We know that Jason was killed after Tim became Robin, because Joker tortured Jason with the knowledge that Batman had recruited a new Robin. They even allude to maybe this Jason Todd situation being an ongoing thing during the Matter of Family DLC, when Joker talks about how Batman just hasn't seemed himself lately, and Joker really seems to be on this vendetta to rid Batman of his allies. You could end Arkham Shadow with a real 1-2 punch by having Joker send Batman the film of Jason Todd being killed, and then pretty much immediately after, before Batman has even had an opportunity to grieve, you have Gordon or Alfred or somebody call Batman to inform him that Barbara has been paralyzed by the Joker. You could either end Arkham Vigil there with Batman enraged and hunting down the Joker, or you could have a final confrontation with the Joker. We could see the Arkhamverse's take on the Killing Joke, where Joker has now kidnapped Commissioner Gordon and Batman has to go find him and stop him, and really wrestles with the thought of killing him for what he's done. In either respect, I feel like Batman Arkham Vigil would add a lot of complexity and backstory to events that are paid off in Batman Arkham Knight. In some ways, I think it would retroactively improve Batman Arkham Knight. But now I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you thought of this pitch in the comments below. If you have any ideas for what Camoflauj's next Arkham game should be, let me know. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and especially if you'd like to see more Let's Pitch videos in the future. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.